today we're going to go into a potential snowstorm that will be probably around Groundhog Day and will likely be major, with some 1 foot snow likely across parts of depends on the snow you're talking about. It could be from the plains, Midwest to Great Lakes, or just Midwest to Great Lakes. And there's obviously some struggle with where exactly that will set up. We will decipher that in today's forecast. Before you get started here, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new and have not done so already. And also like this forecast if you enjoy the forecast, and be sure to watch our current live coverage on the Nor'easter we're seeing across Northeast. And here's our Untitled Snowfall Forecast, which is preliminary, but we do expect some major accumulations of a foot or more across the swath, which would likely come from eastern Missouri through central Illinois, northern Indiana, and northwest Ohio, southern Michigan, and maybe even go to the northern reaches of New England near the Canadian border. But yeah, the impacts will definitely be significant from the storm, just like the blizzard we're seeing right now. Again, you can watch the live coverage on that. I will not be streaming for too much longer, but I'll be on for a little while. So just a heads up on that. And then this storm will also extend going from southern Rockies and the plains and start to really get ramping up across the Midwest. And there could even be 2 storms with all of this going on, which we will get to in the models, which we will head to right now. Otherwise, I take a look at the snowfall map and see if you end up anywhere on here. But yeah, definitely pay attention to, there was a highlight in the pink zone, which would be potential for a foot more GFS. And as we get starting to head into the event in the first couple days of February, you can see precipitation starting to pop up across the Midwest and parts of the Great Lakes and even the Eastern Plains. So we got that first storm getting really started across central portion of the country. As you can see, it's developing at this point Tuesday night. But with the snow starting to get heavy and the storm system developing, this is definitely going to make for some way for the second storm with little to no break between the storms. You can see just how long some places see snow for and how heavy it could get. The second storm will likely be the stronger one, which is contrary to what runs in just a couple days ago was saying could be the first storm that's stronger. But yeah, something to look at here. Mixed precipitation and ice could also be possible in transition zone, somewhere in central portions of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. So yeah, if you're north of this line, you'll expect primarily snow, which you'll see in the models again. Oklahoma City will likely see mixed precipitation if there's small occurs. So would St. Louis, Kansas City would see mostly snow. Wichita would see mostly snow. Denver would all see snow. Would see all snow basically. Des Moines could get a brief hint on the snow, especially with the first storm. Chicago would likely get hit with both storms, according to this model. Detroit would also get hit with both storms, with snow, or depending on, it could be rain at first for much of the areas that do see the heavy snow, and then it quickly turns into snow, and then next thing you know, the second strongest storm comes in and drops all that heavy snow across central Missouri, Illinois, northern Indiana, and southern Michigan. But again, this is all subject to change, and it's only 5 days out. But still, there's time to reconsider the models over here and see how they shape up in the future, and see what comes out by the time these storms happen, which would likely be around Groundhog Day, as the models show. Between that Arctic high and this whole entire storm, that could bring a ton of impacts. This setup is definitely a great one over here. And the jet stream has also been going to be pretty active, which is how this strong storm could all take place in the first place. So again, snow would also end up in New England, especially with the second storm, and as well as the mixed precipitation. But yeah, many areas that did see the blizzard and are seeing the blizzard will probably end up with rain for the most part. If not, like briefly mixing in at the end, or maybe seeing snow first. Or at least mixed precipitation with the ice and sleet and everything. But yeah, now we're going to go to the snowfall forecast and see how the models do with the snowfall and see which ones are a little too much with the snow. Or just see how much snowfall could fall according to each model. Share ratio first, see all the happen basically at the upper end scenario of how much could fall. So yeah, looks like a pretty overdone forecast, and probably it is, with a band of 2 feet from just this ratio across from northeast Illinois, northern Indiana, southern Michigan. But yeah, I really don't think this will happen. Even if it did, it would be like pretty devastating. With localized spots from northern Missouri and southern Iowa, could see that too. But the widespread head swath of 1 foot would go from east central Kansas into Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, southeastern Wisconsin, northwestern Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and possibly touching the states of New York and the border, as well as Maine. But then again, this is an area that could also see snowfall from both storms, so that would only make things worse for these areas, obviously. But in the more popular areas, it will probably be a rain event. So fortunately, it won't be too much, but then not so much at the same time, because all that snowpack rapidly melting from the heavy rain, that's going to cause tons of flooding issues. And yeah, so it'll be a blizzard from one day, and in just a few days, you'll see like flash flooding occurring, probably, which is all that concerning after all. Oh, the Canadian model. It has a band farther south than GFS. Some areas that did see the blizzard would get the snowstorm too. And then, while the 1 foot swath of snowfall is a little narrow, more narrow, the 2 foot would still be there, and even just West St. Louis would see 3 feet, which obviously is very unlikely. But I mean, look at how the models overdo this. Central Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, they could all see like 2 foot if Kushner ratio was actually the true thing we use to measure snowfall, and even in New England, maybe Northeast, and the Eastern Great Lakes too. Like, it'd be going from mid-Mississippi Valley, from the East Central Plains, into the lower Eastern Great Lakes, and into New England. It's kind of surprising to see all these wacky amounts from the snowstorm, which is probably a little overdone. But yeah, we're going to go back to the normal ratio we use, which is 10-1, but it's not the accurate one either. Ratio, there's still a swath of 1 foot of snowfall, but then you see there's still a little 2 foot snowfall across possibly northern Indiana, southern Michigan. But again, we don't know if there will be that swath anywhere across the storm yet. But there will likely be 1 foot in a swath, or at least in these areas, or even or what the Canadian model says. Over here, there are some differences on where that would occur. GFS, Chicago, Detroit, Kansas City, St. Louis, maybe. And then look over here on the Canadian model. That would be more like also St. Louis, but less like Chicago, Detroit, and Kansas City. But then St. Louis would be receiving the absolute worst of this storm. And as well as Indianapolis, Cleveland, Buffalo, and heading in New England. And there will probably be a section of the storm where there would be lighter snowfall as it gets started. Especially the second one, probably, because that's the one we'll probably see. Because the first one will probably develop, but maybe it could actually snow a bit from the first storm over here in some of these places. Then the second snowfall, this is really bad coming from Oklahoma City, Topeka, Denver, Lubbock, all those areas. And then it also gets heavier as it heads towards the Mississippi River and into New England, northeast. And we're gonna look at a European model. More or less, there isn't really any 1-foot snow bands, but widespread 6+ inches. Chicago will be on the northern edge of this. St. Louis, Indianapolis, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Erie, Buffalo, New York, well, not New York City, I should say, but maybe on the southern edge of any snowfall would be a more accurate representation of this model. Maybe that would probably be the case for Little Rock too. But also Louisville would all likely end up in this widespread area of heavy to moderate snowfall, as well as Oklahoma City, but that would be like obviously lighter than the rest of the areas east of this. So yeah, there isn't too much to cover for now, but hope you enjoy the rest of your day and be safe out there if you're in the blizzard or expecting this whole snowstorm over here.